bitch, you go.
No, we're going right now. Hey, it's Ace Attorney,
I'll end
everybody.
you. Hey, everybody.
I'll
fuck
end the
you.
stream right now. Go fuck yourself. 10 seconds.
Do it.
Good night. Now we're back on the trial. I don't know.
Coward.
I think we had gotten partway into the. Well, okay. Let me get back to the guide because I don't remember what we were doing. We went investigating. We found out that the alarm did ring, but Larry was not there because he was fucking across town or some shit when Mr. Man was murdered.
Oh yeah, this became a murder investigation. I forgot.
Yeah. Tribulations. There we go. I should really put this in a place where I can actually, like, see it. Because this is stolen turnabout. We're on trial 4-1. Sorry. My scroll wheel was also scrolling the game.
Classic
okay,
mistake.
Here we go. Alright, so let's read us this testimony again, because I don't remember what was going on.
Yeah, me either.
When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there dead.
Gasp.
I'm
we heard
hoping
this
this
from
part
Mr.
will
Delight
remind
yesterday,
us what's going
didn't we?
on. There's not much in this testimony either.
I betcha he's still hiding something.
I wouldn't be surprised. We'll just have to draw it out of him.
I just hope he doesn't make things any more complicated.
The fucking, like,
This is an Ace Attorney game. Of course he will.
The 8-bit bass line in this track is pretty solid. I've never really heard it this well before.
Do 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 do.
Press
Oh,
on the
that
third
one's the
statement
one
if-
that's just going done, done,
Dun, dun, dun,
done.
Hold it. That's...
Hold it, bitch.
Could you please clarify what you are referring to? Why, my Mask to Mask costume, of course.
Wait a moment. Mask to mask.
Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed as Mask to Mask. And then I descended upon the office of the CEO of KV Security.
What?
Nyak, did you know about this? He never told me this.
I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either.
Even I didn't know that.
Oh, he's got a ring. I didn't notice that until just now.
Colonel. It seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets.
I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait, that's not right. You know, sometimes things just slip your mind.
Hey, Molly.
Hello, guy.
My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony.
I'd have been killed if I wasn't wearing my Mask to Mask costume. Hold it. Why were you dressed up as Mask to Mask? Thank you for the bit, Malaga. Why? Because I'm Mask to Mask, of course. Stupid question.
Oh, what are you talking about? Mask trial is being held next door.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, at that time...
There's a next door here?
There
Yeah,
are
there's
2 courts.
There's more than
The
one
normal
court
court where nothing happens and the clown court where I am.
Thought I was being blackmailed over the Mask to Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him just to be safe. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I expected. Took a lot longer? What is he talking about? Yeah, fucking what? What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see? This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body.
Whoa, what was that? Back up a second.
Oh, shit. Thank you for the 3 bits, Swissy. Yes?
Heh.
You were the one that hid the body in the safe?
Well, yeah.
Inconceivable.
Jesus Christ.
Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking?
Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing
Don't
machine?
ask this group, friends, because they'll tell you different answers.
Yes, because some people are psychopaths that wash them the moment they've looked at them once.
Okay.
Not this
What?
again. I'm not strong enough.
The answer is simple. When they take them off. Alright.
Thank you,
What?
Gato. Base
As
Gato.
As usual, I have no idea what you're saying.
You mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer?
Huh. So you're not as stupid as you look.
Hmm.
His metaphor this time was really obscure.
Yeah, it also didn't make sense and it was wrong.
You don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you?
Well, yes.
Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness, make sure you add this to your testimony.
Yes, sir. Uh-oh. Looks like a storm front is moving in front of our fair weather judge.
Heh.
I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. We need to present a thing here. It's the... Where's the buzzer the buzzer records. Yeah, because if it took him about 10 minutes to do, he would have almost super duper been caught had Larry been, like, actually paying attention.
I mean, yeah, but he wasn't.
Larry
Objection.
wasn't even there.
Larry was gone.
Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record?
And what might this be?
The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the button was pushed once at 1:02 a.m.
What?
If Mr. Delight truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, a security guard would have been heading his way.
Would have been.
Objection. Huh. Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building.
Objection!
He worked there!
Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as a chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them.
Just popping off.
But as it turns out, the guard never came.
That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity was not something Mr. Delight could have known. Or something I specifically had to tell the court. But go fuck yourself, Larry Butts.
Put it in the record! Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off.
Objection! This buzzer's extremely loud. There was no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is.
Conscious? What do you mean by that?
Ugh,
Got him.
I need a coffee.
Gato.
Fine. Let's hear your theory. Your game theory.
Thanks for watching.
Recall the defendant's
Thanks for
testimony.
watching.
The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes.
Unconscious? So he fainted.
That's why Mr. Delight didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body.
So what are you trying to say?
Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right, whoever it was, they knocked out Ron Delight and then pressed the buzzer.
Gasp.
Order in the court. Mr. Wright, this is...
This is preposterous. It was this kid. Ron Delight is the one who killed Kane Bullard.
Objection! Then who pressed the buzzer?
It was the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button.
So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What is your opinion on this, Mr. Wright?
I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? Apparently we can. The defendant's opinion... I'm just gonna check this real quick while we're here. It's gonna be one of, like... Oh, there are no fingerprints on the button. Yeah, okay, that'll do it. The defense's opinion is this, Your Honor. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. I didn't realize it was literally about to take us into this menu. But yeah, there were no fingerprints on the button. Take that! I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for.
The emergency buzzer?
Did he bring it here?
Is it some kind of clue on it?
Absolutely not.
Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before you open your mouth.
The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue.
Now I'm the one who's clueless.
Heh.
This button has no fingerprints on it. This rising fucking, like, bleep noise. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind.
I don't know how to make that sound. It was like a coffee spit take.
Just imagine you spit a drink out of your mouth like an animal.
I have
Like some
done
sort
that.
of fucking
But
But
loser.
fortunately I was laughing, which is a much different sound than surprised. Ron Delight obviously wiped them off.
Why? Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment.
He touched that button. I know he did.
Objection! The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Mask to Mask. A Mask to Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe that button free of fingerprints?
Order.
It would seem. I've been forced to eat crow.
I wonder what blend number crow-flavored coffee is.
128.
Oh, shit.
Thanks for asking.
Thanks for asking. There's real crow in each cup.
I have
Godo's
my
just
assistant
fucking
go outside
walking
and murder
around.
a crow fresh and bleed into the cup every time.
It's crow's blood. Gives the coffee a nice aftertaste and the small chance for rabies.
Do crows carry rabies?
I don't know. I just said an animal disease. What do you want from me? I'm not a zoologist.
Couldn't be
Mad-
bird's disease or anything.
Mad crow's disease.
You want me to think there's something called bird's disease?
Isn't there?
No?
Not that
Corv-
I've ever heard of.
Oh no, shut up. It's Corvid-19.
Corvid-19.
I'm way too proud of that.
I know. I could feel.
It's because crows are
feel it.
corvid, Swissy.
I know. Oh, you're
I
explaining
didn't
Swissy.
ask.
That makes sense.
Fuck you.
Well, it's because crows are
I
a
said
corvid,
nothing.
Swissy. Yeah, but we knew you didn't know.
Anyway, I meant bird flu.
Bird flu. Yeah, that's a
Bird flu
real
is
thing.
different. Bird flu is
You
different
just
than bird
threw
disease.
me off when you said bird disease. Like, there's
Listen,
no
I'm
way
sorry.
that they just named it as the. Now listen, it mostly confused me because I was like, is there something just called bird disease? Because like
couldn't
I don't
remember
know
the
every
word.
bird disease.
Every
Maybe
bird
I don't
has
know
bird
bird
disease.
disease.
It's what keeps them being birds.
But birds aren't real, so I don't get
No,
it.
it's a bird curse if you think about it that way.
Is bird disease just what they like call it for like a code word to disguise when the bird drones aren't working?
I don't
Like, oh,
know.
this bird's got bird disease. It's
I
just because the
don't know, and
battery
I
died.
no longer care either.
Well, birds aren't real, Swissy. That's the important thing here. The important thing to remember. Anyways,
Anyway,
However, the real killer was at the scene of the crime. Why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden?
it looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks.
they're onto you, yeah.
Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts.
Kept you waiting.
The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 a.m. And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? Nope, that's Maya. Whatever, I already read it.
Oh,
The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. Jesus Christ, that's loud.
that is quite obnoxious. Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzard was pressed.
Security was supposed to respond?
Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say.
Very well then.
Oh, you've got some guts. I like that in an opponent.
Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer?
To get to the
Call
other side.
security
Wait.
guard.
Yeah, exactly. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted.
Do you mean to say the killer caught the guard on purpose?
Yes, although as it turned out, he never showed up.
Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time.
Huh. What a touching story.
Sorry. Wrong button.
You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in.
No, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron Delight, who was out cold. And the third person, the real killer, who is definitely not the silhouette of Luke Atman.
What? Did it just... Okay.
It's definitely they've shown Luke Atme's exact silhouette like 3 times. They just keep showing it.
Jesus Christ.
Hypothetically, yes.
Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Ron Delight. And if any security guards come running into that time, they would think that I was the murderer. Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron Delight for the murder.
But I have an updated autopsy report.
That was really good.
Company is they just like.
I really appreciate
you
the
didn't
confidence
know that
with
I
which-
had an up.
He just
Go
fucking
on.
took a full sip, looked us dead in the eye, and then did a spit take.
Little did they know I have an updated button. This one has fingerprints.
Oh no.
There was a second button right next to the first
There
one.
was a
That's
second
weird.
button, you fool.
that you didn't
Yu-Gi-Oh
notice.
episodes.
Ooh.
I've also accidentally watched entire episodes of a show in clips
Yep.
Oopsie.
on YouTube.
I watched most of the DC movies that way before we
I watched
actually
most of
watched
the
them.
DC. Yeah. I did as well. The more we watched the DC movies, the more I was like, oh, I kind of know all of the major plot points because of the YouTube clips. I'm like, huh, wild.
I
Yeah.
didn't.
Well,
You sure didn't. But on the
good for
upside, you
you.
got to watch Knives Out.
It's true. It's a fantastic film.
So
If you got Amazon Prime, you can watch it.
I don't.
But I imagine
But
you
someday
don't.
maybe.
I do.
You and I are gonna be the ones. But yeah, no, it's
should
fine
I
that
just
I
start
missed it. If
skipping
you,
over when the judge says order? Should I just start moving on? Because I know
Yeah.
we've done that line
Yeah.
probably a billion times.
Or
I'll be honest, for some reason, like when I read the line order, it like I like am exhausted. It just like my brain doesn't want to say it
Oh, you
anymore.
know what I can do? I can put a soundboard, or I can record you saying it off stream, right? And then just put a button on my fucking keypad to read it out,
I see
Amazing.
no reason.
so you never have to do it again.
Oh, it would seem. I've been made to eat my words once again.
Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee.
Mr. Wright, who
Hilarious.
was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mask, so.
Nick, you mean the real killer is?
We're gonna drag that person in here right now.
But who is it?
I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard.
Uh-huh.
now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr.
Is
Long
it
Delight
possible?
for the murder of Kane
It was
Bullard?
Dick Gumshoe. No.
It was Dick
Take that!
Gumshoe.
Wow, Luke Atme is
Detective
older
Gum
than Gumshoe,
brings a whole new
apparently.
meaning. Haha.
That's pretty good.
Wow, they're posting each episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Shortened to a minute. Amazing.
Incredible.
I mean, really, once you cut out the filler, each episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about a minute or two.
Right. Detective Luke Atme. He's the only one who could have done it.
He's
Luke Atme?
detective.
You mean Mask to Mask did it?
Well, yes, but no.
Your Honor, the person being tried in court next to us is not Mask to Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard.
When?
Order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself.
Theft and murder. Which is the
Guilty.
more serious crime?
They're not even close. Theft, I mean murder, is more serious. It's a capital crime subject to a capital punishment. And
Please
I
remember
don't
the
mean
trial
the
from
British version of
yesterday.
capital.
Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Atme confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom.
Of course, the famous detective was unmasked as, well, as Mask to Mask.
Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along.
To be found guilty.
Mask to Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Mask to Mask was Luke Atme's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi.
A guilty verdict as an alibi.
That's crazy.
You know, it's almost time
For what?
for Luke Atme's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial, after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course. That's assuming you have proof the detective was the one who committed the murder.
Mr. Look at Me's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If I were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Light would be left with no grounds for appeal.
It's like saying I can't be the killer because I was killing someone else across town. Am I really sure about this?
Huh. A bet's only good when your life's the ante.
Mr. Wright, I believe in you. Mr. Delight. So, please, I'm begging you. Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this?
Yes.
Is
That
it
was-
Mia?
That was Mia, very briefly.
Phoenix.
What was that?
A terrible dream!
Don't stray, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust.
That voice. It sounds like... Mia. Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess.
So that's your answer, huh?
Makes you wonder how many of the culprits Phoenix has found have been given the capital punishment.
Right?
Phoenix
So
Wright
many of
leaves
those
a
people are dead now.
Phoenix leaves a trail of corpses in his wake.
A trail of bodies.
Well, I've decided as well. I'm not going to interfere. So,
Goodbye.
Oops. The squad will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke at me to the stand.
Yes, Your Honor. October 14th, 11:58 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 5. Oh no.
I hate it.
Well, Sir Detective at me!
Side stop. You don't have to be so pleased with yourself, you know.
You could just
I
learn how to
can't do
fake
that.
laugh. See, like that.
Why am I friends with you? What did I do to deserve this?
See, you can't tell when it's real. That's acting.
I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh
Okay.
no, Sir Detective Abby, you were the one who...
Oh, I call him.
Go for it. I was gonna let you.
All right, perfect.
This judge
What is the
this judge is Canadian, if that helps you.
Oh my god. So I have to do my normal judge voice, but somehow Canadian, huh? That sounds impossible.
I don't know why he's Canadian, but he is.
I like that he has the same judge beard as the other judge. Are they brothers or something?
Very
I think
good
so,
stuff.
actually. They might be. Or
So
just
that's
all judges and
enough.
servers look exactly the same.
Hey, this court sees no reason to further prolong.
That's fucking awful.
That's doing
I'm trying to like mash a Canadian accent into my judge voice, and my brain doesn't really know what it's doing.
Nah, it's good. Shut
This
up.
court sees no reason. This court finds
Sorry.
the defendant Luke at me.
Happy
Hold
Canada
it!
Day.
Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please! Swizzy. Now Swizzy.
What?
What? This
Can you
is
hear me?
you. No. I can't
Yeah.
now. I can't
Oh,
now.
Now I
said
hear
it,
you.
but I guess I'll say it again.
Yeah, please. Is Swissy just not fucking... Is it cutting out exactly when he's trying to talk? What's happening?
I'm going to kill myself.
Are you fucking with us? Because
I'm
that was really
not.
well timed. You
I'm
literally went,
not.
yeah, let me try again. Ahem, and then nothing happened. It was just silence. Right after you cleared your throat.
Did it a third time. Just assume I read it and move on.
Okay.
Your Luke at me voice says specific pitch your microphone cannot register.
Well, well, sir lawyer, welcome to my courtroom.
Oh my fucking god!
Oh,
There you go.
that's such a
He
good
is
sprite.
Canadian! Who's this hoser, eh?
My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Atney.
Also, my guy, that was my plan, is to do the Midwestern accent because no one can tell the difference between Midwestern and Canadian.
Exactly.
They're basically the same. Canada's just one big Midwest.
Even though my
Canada's the
accent's
Midwest,
much more
but up.
UP/Minnesotan. In fact, that's the weird part, right? I live north of parts of Canada.
Yeah, it's true.
You accuse Master Mask!
That man is not Mask to Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sweat bitch. To be continued.
Who is this hoser, eh? What's this guy on about?
You like to save your progress.
Why is he
I
Canadian?
I really don't know why he's Canadian. They just gave him a line like, "Who is this hoser, eh?"
Order, order. Boy, this is a weird accent. I'm
Well,
gonna have to work on this one.
I don't think he comes back.
Maybe
it's
I just do
fine.
Midwestern and make it gravelly.
Well, he kind of comes back later, I think. October 14, 12:14 p.m. District Court, defendant lobby number 4.
He better come up at least once more because I'm working on this.
Yes.
I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. He does, thank you. Yeah, I think he comes up in
So
the
then
last
she's
case.
still alive inside your heart.
And as a ghost.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Now Josh
your
cut out
microphone-
solely because he screamed.
Oh, Mr. Light.
It's almost certainly for the best that it cuts out when I go that high pitched because it is ear piercing. Is it
neighbors
true
love
that that detective is the real killer?
To be honest, we don't have any definite proof. I thought he was going to say definitive, and then he didn't. But he's the only one who could have done it.
But wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night?
Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. I mean, why would Detective Atney want to kill Kane Bullard? Why not?
Oops, it's almost time. Better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof. And it's got to happen sooner rather than later. Or we can make it up as we go, like usual. October 14, 12:21 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 6.
Now, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Atney, please take the stand.
They say his full name every time for some reason.
Well, how do you do, Sir Lawyer?
I thought it was happening again for a second, and I was going to lose my mind.
I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly.
I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when it would have given you your own perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Mask to Mask.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke Atney has no idea what you mean. Of course, I have been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could know what's been going on in here.
You went in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as mask to mask?
Indeed,
And
it's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, They even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example.
So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Master Mask.
Of course.
Very well. Let's begin with this simple question. October 12th, 1 a.m. Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at that time?
One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself.
No, it's specifically a diamond that's somehow red. It's
don't
very
also-
valuable.
And also completely round.
And also completely round with no facets at all.
A
Who made
flawless
this?
diamond.
And why?
It's, you know, round diamonds, aka pearls.
Round diamonds. I mean, they could technically make a diamond round. It doesn't have to have facets. It would just be
Yeah.
weird
It would be
to have an
weird.
unfaceted diamond that's also very incredibly red.
But don't worry! I will not hold it against you, Surgeon.
I was waiting for
I
you
will
to
not hold it
continue.
against you. You
Please
want,
don't
you
make
want
him
just a
Irish
little
Skeletor.
Irish.
I can't deal with that.
Ah, tis I, look
Top
at
of the
me.
morning to you, laddies!
Oh, it's really fun to say "look at me" with that accent.
Look
there.
at me.
Try it. Look at me.
At me.
Look at me.
That's pretty good.
Look at me. Oh, look at me, lad.
I hate this.
Thanks.
Bad timeline.
All right, Mr. Adme. The night of the murder. Speak. We're all ears, like a field of corn.
Bruh.
As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. Prosecutor, if you will.
Isn't that a type of ham?
The alibi, witness testimony.
The alibi. I was stealing the urn as Mask to Mask, just as I announced I would. I had
But
more than
technically,
enough
if
time
it's
to
colored
prepare.
red, then it's a ruby. It's like a subclass of diamond. Ah, dude, I've subclassed into diamond.
Nice.
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that.
It was a particularly easy job. A photograph, look at it, contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. Time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder.
It seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene.
Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well.
Even the great Master Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have to go to jail for being a thief.
Bye. Hold it! Unfortunately, Mr. Adme, we still have to do your cross-examination.
But I'm guilty of stealing.
But
A
I'm
fool is too foolish to know
stealer.
that he is a fool.
I think he's trying to say that you're full of it, Nick.
The only thing that's full of it
And
is
I
his
agree.
alibi.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
according to my research on Wikipedia.com just now, because I was curious, apparently rubies are part of the corundum family. It's a mineral.
Corunduming, it's like you make
Corundum.
locks in Skyrim
Yeah.
for your.
Oh,
hearth
Apparently it's
fire home.
aluminum. Apparently it's aluminum oxide. And that and so rubies and sapphires are this corundum. Other varieties of gem quality corundum are sapphires. Diamonds are carbon though.
Ah.
So they might call a red diamond a ruby, I suppose. But I think it's technically a corundum.
It's crazy.
Fascinating. I believe
Based on
Adrian
this
Andrews
first
hired
sentence
you
I've read from Wikipedia.
at one point.
They look like shit when they're naturally occurring. It just looks like a cut up beat. Look at this dumb, stupid, natural ruby.
It's bad rock.
Looks like shit.
That's gross. It looks like meat.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Rubies,
Oh, there's
the meat
purple
of,
rubies. That's sick.
the meat of the ground.
Nice.
That's right. That was over.
Wait. Never mind. Continue.
Thanks.
That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right?
Indeed. There was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once.
Ah, yes.
It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target.
What? How is that? What is the French word for that? I remember that's French, right? Duck game. They call it like "I'm for palm" or something stupid, which just means apple of the earth. The French language. It does do a weird thing once in a while. Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm reading about precious gems on Wikipedia.
Nice.
Anyways,
Encyclopedia that anyone can edit.
oh, pomme de terre. That's what it is.
Ah.
Free
Or however
encyclopedia
you'd
that
say.
anyone can edit.
I see. You truly are evil, aren't you?
Yes, evil is what I am.
And yeah, isn't there something odd about this? Detective Atme was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona.
You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. Photograph contains no words.
Canadian,
Press.
the diet
Hold it.
French.
Tie it French.
About the camera that took this photograph.
Oh, come now.
Oh. I mean, if I must. I don't
Come
wanna
now.
I don't-
It actually
wanna
did
get
cut you
banned
off
from
after you
Twitch.
said "come now."
So you didn't get the last part of that.
Nope.
What's up with your microphone, dude?
Your
I
microphone
don't
being
know.
real
I would,
discreet.
I would assume it was us, but we're both not hearing it, so.
Well, I don't know how to fix it, so you're just gonna have to suffer, I guess.
It's all
That's
Julia
fine, it's
when
kinda
you're
what I
Hear
do.
what
thinking.
you're thinking. I said it!
Yeah.
You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't
I
you?
thought he was gonna say altered the timeline. I'd be like, oh shit. Pomme de terre, or however the French would actually pronounce that. I'd forgotten about that fact until just now when you said apple of the earth, and my brain was like, that's what the French call potatoes. You know
That's
that thing where
Tommy
your
Dietery.
your fucking brain unhelpfully is just like, ah yes, I will keep this fact for later, and later's like forever apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that way a lot
So,
with video game knowledge in particular.
right? I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed that picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered.
Nice.
See.
It looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious.
So this alibi is false?
It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security.
It's because it was Ron Delight who was there.
But I'm not really spotting anything unusual.
There are two possibilities.
How could Luke at me, as Mulligan pointed out, how could Luke at me possibly fit the fucking mask on over his massive honker?
Yeah.
Either the mask
Should really
mask
just
in the
point
photo
that
is a
out.
fake, or the photo itself is. Stealing the iron.
No.
Enough time to repair. Photograph contains no words.
What?
Hold it. So by photograph, you mean this
Oh,
piece of
wait.
evidence here, is that correct? It's weirder, and I had to
Indeed
double
it
check the
is.
guide because I don't think I would have remembered this on my own.
Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime.
The very thing that proves you committed the crime.
Surely even you understand by now.
This
Lordly
phone.
Taylor provided that camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. That means I could not have killed Kane Bullock unless I had an accomplice.
Did you have an accomplice?
Hmm.
Mom, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse and this picture that supposedly captures it. It's gotta be here. Isn't there something funny about this picture? You bet there is.
Hilarious, in fact.
Are you implying that this picture is a fake?
You bet I am. There's definitely something strange
Why?
about this picture.
Look at this photograph.
Every time I do, it makes me laugh.
We took a look around the
I'm being
basement warehouse
bullied.
that night before the theft took place.
Being a
There's
little
something in
bullied.
this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Oh, okay. It's walking.
It's
us
only
there.
because we love you, Swissy.
Fuck you.
Very
I would never bully someone I didn't like because I wouldn't want to talk to them.
Fair
true.
enough.
Well, let's hear what you have to say.
I almost started reading that, and then I got to bit, and then I went, oh, that's Josh. I didn't do that one. It was what about that photograph do you find funny? It's this.
What
Take
about that
that.
photograph do you find funny?
The funny part is right here.
Ah, the paint.
Why, this is a bloodstain.
No.
Ah, blood! Now this case is getting interesting.
Oh no.
Not exactly. This stain is actually pink paint.
Oh, just pain. And peach colored at that.
From blood to peaches, the judge sure loves going on his wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse. It turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen.
The funny part is to come. You're right, Malo guy.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Wright,
Come.
what's supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains?
A
if
statue.
Yeah. Josh remembers.
That's
I
huge.
hit the wrong button.
Bless you.
Take that!
It's Danking Grompton blood.
Exactly. The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following.
Oh shit. There's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it.
I myself was there the night that theft took place, and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then that statue should have been there.
But when I went there the day after the theft, the statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner.
Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally.
Your Honor, this statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move at that distance.
Huh. In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night?
I love how Gatto doesn't make any accusations. He's just like, prove it though.
Prove it though.
It's very good.
And Phoenix just has to be like, wait a second, that's not how you being a prosecutor works.
Yeah, literally that's all he's doing and it's working. Can you do it, Nick? I mean,
Never
yeah.
mind who moved it. The real question is why did they move it?
This is a real, fucking guilty until proven innocent kind of place, huh?
Yeah.
That's right. I hope I'm prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one who moved the golden statue the night of the crime?
I mean, it must have been Mr. Atme. Take that! The one who moved the statue was none other than Luke Atme.
Come now, Sir Lawyer. Here you go again on one of your strange delusions.
Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions?
It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night.
That is indeed very simple. However,
I was hoping you'd do that.
why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? I have weak arms.
The reason for moving the golden statue. Here's where our battle really begins.
Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move that statue?
The witness... the reason can be found here in this photograph.
Look at this.
Every time I do,
graph.
I look, it makes me laugh.
It makes me laugh.
It does. Luke Atme, you pretended to be Master Mask. I thought this was somebody else, which is why I wasn't talking. To create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue
like
had
to
been
call
there,
him
your
Mulligan.
lie...
I, Ace Detective Luke Atme, want a do-over.
One more time, please. Different lawyers, if you must. You must bring me a different one. One who does not know. One who wasn't there the night before the crime, by chance. If
One
you're-
from Florida, perhaps.
If the statue had been there, your lie would have been exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That is why you had to move the statue.
Single fatal flaw?
Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does this lie exist?
It's up there. Take that. Naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atme went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. It has no date. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been to at Lordly Taylor at this time.
There is no date. You're right. Holy
There's
shit.
no date? It's just a time.
But what does that have to do with the statue being moved?
Remember, if you will, Your Honor, when was this statue placed besides the warehouse door?
Well,
The statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime. And it was placed there in order to cover up the paint.
Exactly.
Oh.
Luke Atme had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim. And so, in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place.
What the?
Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet. I thought
What?
I read that wrong, but he just said yet twice.
and yet,
So, on the
Yet.
day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. What? Why? Because something that
That's a
wasn't
new one
supposed to
for
be
me.
there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atme had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match with the way it had been in this photo.
Wah!
Wah!
Svargi!
Bonnie! He hasn't said Svarine forever.
Damn,
Bad.
it's almost like a
order,
sketch.
order. Mr. Atme, is this true?
One moment, Your Honor. Mulligan, remember? Have you forgotten this?
What? I just imagine, for some reason, I got a very vivid image of him going, "One moment, Your Honor," and pulling out a bag, vomiting into it, and then going, "All right, what was the question?"
Oh, man.
That mental image is so fucking funny to me. Oh man. Fuck. I know it's my line. I'm sorry. Give me a second.
need to calm down from your own brain.
Sometimes my brain really hits me with a zinger. And it's just amazing. Anyways.
What's that?
The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime.
Objection! It's true that the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data.
Gasp.
Order! Mr. Godo! What's the meaning of this?
Spit take, spit take, spit take.
Godo, I warned you about making me wait. Now put down that coffee.
My 11th cup. I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial.
Jesus Christ.
Which means I'm still good to the last drop.
However, the defense has a very good point.
A good point. So what? When have I ever let facts or logic stop me?
Mood.
We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points.
I think he's got his points mixed up with his other points. What?
So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time, and the statues moved in order to make it match. That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied.
Which is...
That it's only a possibility. Fun fact, the Luke Atmy's catchphrase was at some point going to be "Swing!" But it was later changed to be more similar to his Japanese.
That's pretty good.
Oh man, I don't know if
That's
it's
very good.
I don't know if I like swing better than Zvadi. Because swing is really
funny.
good. Don't get me wrong, but like Zvari is just such a weird fucking thing to say because it doesn't mean anything. At least not to me. Men that are trapped in the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams.
That's very true.
No way,
I
don't fall
think-
for that, Your Honor.
Hey, Mr. Damask.
Yes?
You know he said yes from the stand. If there's no funny business in your actions as Mask Damask, then there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So let's hear it.
Yes, please provide this court with your testimony. About your plan to steal the sacred urn.
Sacred Urn heist.
I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a bark and swing! It was then sent to the warehouse.
See,
I
like,
actually
it's
don't like
good,
swing
but
as
like,
It doesn't hit his heart, yeah.
that's the thing. It's really
because
funny
Swing
once.
makes it sound like he's drawing a sword or some shit, whereas
Yeah,
Vari is just a
Swing is
weird word he made up for a catchphrase.
Yeah, see, swing is really good the first time you hear it, but like, it doesn't have the mileage that Zavari has.
Yeah, even though you don't know what it means something.
Zvati!
Spotty.
Zvati! There you have it.
Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for
Did you
myself.
say
until
hench?
I said hence.
Until the day of the crime.
Hench.
I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so
It
I sent my
wasn't, but
card
go
10
off.
days beforehand.
It was actually a real shit treasure.
I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime
It's
would
been
go
broken
smoothly.
twice.
At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th.
My ass.
I held my ass on October 12th.
I clapped my butt cheeks on October 12th at 1 a.m. for the
Savani!
first time.
I yell that when I come.
Hey!
Awful. Awful, awful. Imagine
Terrible
banging
bad.
certified power bottom Luke at me, and he yells Svati.
Look at me come!
I would rather not. Check something really quick.
It's pretty much all stuff we heard before, isn't it?
Yeah, but we will find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave.
Nugget.
Witness your royal making no mistakes this time.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's not an answer, but okay.
Imagine being the poor court reporter for this fucking trash house. I would
That
just
was a
write this
secret.
shit
The
down.
stenographer just fucking like tacking away and like having to pause and look into the middle distance every couple minutes.
Like I went to stenography school for this.
Damn. It do be
Well-
like that.
Very well then, Miss Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
The Sacred Urn Heist. Request: the urn was placed in the box and then it was sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was unable to actually see the urn to myself until the day of the crime. Very interesting. I'm gonna check something really quick. I'll be coming to purloin the most priceless work of art. Take good care of the speckled urn, won't you? But it was. Wait a minute.
Speckled. Speckled.
It's not speckled.
That shit's not speckled at all.
There's no
I mean,
speckles even on here.
I mean, it was when we got to it, but that's because it was covered in paint. But that happened.
I mean,
so
yeah.
that happened after he supposedly sent the card, because that was like what, the day before where she dropped it in the paint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Objection! Hold on, motherfucker. Mr. Atme, if you really are Mask to Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct?
But of course.
Svati?
Stupid.
Is there a problem with that calling card?
Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Mask to Mask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn.
Yes, that's true. But so what? Who gives a
Truth
shit?
be told, there is no way
I
that Mask to
gives a
Mask
shit.
could have known about this pattern.
What do you mean?
This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains.
Paint stains.
And these
It's like
stains did not
paint
appear
stains
until after the urn had been
on your
taken to Lordly
wedding
Taylor.
day.
It's some pain stains when you've already paid.
God.
I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Trite.
The day that the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error, or should I say, an error-prone human. And that's when the pink paint got onto the urn.
You can't be serious.
And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atme had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. There were a lot of G's in that one.
Right.
Guaga, he said something to the effect of goggle, goggle, goggle.
Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself?
No! That's it. Oh, right, that did it. He's broken.
Yeah, I think it's still a little early for a victory pose.
Huh?
I've been being smug over here.
Got his ass.
Huh. It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days.
Conviction, you say? I convict criminals. Huh? Huh?
Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was masked a mask. And now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle?
And that's a good point.
No way, don't fall for that too, Your Honor.
You say that Luke Atme was the one who killed Kane Bullard. Let me ask you this. Why would he do that?
Because I said so.
An excellent point.
Why?
Because I know it brings you pain.
Motive, Mr. Wright. Motive. Might you be my Might you, my merry murderous motive manifest?
Yeah, he's getting his second win.
I see that.
If he prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron Delight, as you say, he must have a very strong motive for murder.
The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron Delight. Isn't that right, Detective?
Indeed, according to my own research, the boy's motive is clear.
Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case.
Wrong, but okay.
That can't possibly be true.
You actually don't legally need motive, at least in America.
No.
It's normally very helpful, though.
Now then, maybe you could enlighten us as what the defendant's motives were.
I'd be honored to, sir, old-timer.
They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. Witness testimony. Motive for murder.
I, Luke Atme, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Master Mask and simply mistook who he was. What is a mask? It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is masked to mask. This is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy.
I'm in pain.
So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant?
This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment.
I'm actually going to take a second. I haven't read that in a while, and I feel like it's going to be important. If you don't want your true identity revealed to the world, come to KB Security at 1 a.m. on October 12th and bring $50,000. If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day instead.
Oh.
How did we not catch How did we not catch that the first time? Have I just never read
That's
this?
baller.
Whatever.
Damn.
A handwriting test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter.
What? Blackmail letter updated in the court record. It just changed to say it was written by Bullard instead of not knowing who it was written by.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination.
Look at me, had known it was Mr. Bullard who wrote the bomb, and it said to Ron Light. Are you sure? Because he doesn't have any red diamonds, but you do. Objection. Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atme?
Sorry. Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's all right.
When you said that this letter was addressed to Ron Light, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction.
Contradiction?
I don't even.
What is
I
that,
don't
like
know
a sauce or something?
No, boy.
I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that.
You're one to talk.
At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists.
What?
Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior?
Also,
Indeed! Time to man up, Mr. Wright.
Is fucking... Are they asking me to fucking punch it? Oh, okay. Contradicting evidence in the back. Present the newspaper clipping. What does the newspaper clipping say? First time. Precious gem, stolen the gem and the thief. Oh, he doesn't have the ring in this one, I don't think. Oh, no, it's the blue.
He does
okay.
not.
He has a... Supposedly, he has a blue gem, not a red one. Because if you look at the gem that he stole, it's blue. The red one got returned. And then given to Luke Abney as a
Wild.
present. Take that! Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the Tear of Emanon, the stolen jewel.
What about it?
The problem is this jewel's color.
Color. I'm not one for discussing color myself.
According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day.
Red? But red isn't blue!
It isn't. Which means, the red diamond described in that blackmail letter is not the Tear of Emanon that Master Mask stole at all. So?
Objection. And your point is, Mr. Trite. So you're trying to say that this blackmail letter was intended for someone else? That is what you're trying to say, right, Trite?
That is what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright?
Well, that is what you're trying to say, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone get off my nuts.
This is who Kane Bullard was actually blackmailing. Fucking... Take that!
Ronnie!
Naturally, it was you, Detective Atme.
Somebody. Do you have some sort of basis for that claim? I'm going with
You've
the
been-
Gatto tactic of just saying prove it.
Prove it!
You've been personally involved in every single mask-to-mask case. And in the last case, you recovered what was stolen, and received a jewel, as your reward.
A jewel.
Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your figure. Finger. That red
Your
diamond
entire
ring.
figure.
This is the diamond referred to in the letter, which means that Kane Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you.
Order in the court. Order, I say.
It seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Wright.
Uh-oh, I don't like the way you said that.
Kane Bullard blackmailing Luke at me. Are you fucking dumb?
Yes, I
How
am.
dense are you? Nick, come on, stand up to him.
Then answer me this. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world.
Yes, it certainly does.
Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Atmey's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity?
What the
Atmey
fuck do
killed
you
Kane
think?
Bullard because he was afraid of his secret being known. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret?
This is what it all comes down to, Nick.
The identity that Luke Atmey wanted so desperately to keep secret was his identity as an ace detective. No, he told everyone that. Mask to
No.
mask, but he's
Yeah.
not.
A blackmailer.
I guess.
Was he the one blackmailing?
Oh, he was the one
The-
blackmailing Ron.
Ron
'cause-
Delight?
Oh, yeah, because all of his plans went through Ron, right? Remember, Ron got all of his plans in
Right.
the mail.
And he did yell, I crafted my own arch nemesis.
Right?
Yeah.
Luke
That'll do
Atmey was a blackmailer.
Hey now, hey now.
Hey now, hey now.
Anyways, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? You said that Kane Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke Atmey. Are you saying that Atmey was blackmailing someone else on top of that? Yes!
Yeah, unfortunately, I am.
You have to admit, it does sound a little odd.
It's not odd. It's the only thing that makes any sense. Kane Bullard was
I'm not crazy,
blackmailing
you're
Luke
crazy.
Atmey. But Ron Delight was also being blackmailed by a certain someone. So did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the Tear of Emmenon heist. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. I received plans from some very kind person, incredibly detailed plans.
Detailed plans. In which case, that would mean that Ron Delight was actually mask to mask.
That is what
We've
we
been
are
saying
claiming.
this, yes?
Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Luke Atmey.
Silence!
I'm Luke Atmey!
Now I see! It's all becoming clear!
What is?
Oh, it froze. Hang on. Catching up.
Oh.
When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Careless, with the tendency to jump to conclusions. Am I wrong?
How did you... Oh my...
You say that I, Luke Atmey, was blackmailing Ron Delight? In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Mask to Mask.
Well, yes.
Ron Delight started receiving plans from his second crime onward, correct? Which means I learned of his identity when he committed that first crime.
Yes.
Boy, you certainly couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise.
I haven't heard anything incorrect so far.
In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence.
Oh my god.
During the first crime, how did Luke Atmey know that Ron Delight was mask to mask?
Because there's a fucking picture of both of them on the cover of a newspaper. They're right there. They're literally right there. Take that.
Well, that could mean anything.
I think I see it.
See what? You
When
see
you
nothing.
were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Gets into lots of mischief trying to be the center of attention.
What do you mean?
This newspaper clipping. It has a picture of you and Ron Delight in his guard uniform. It seems that Master Mask didn't just disappear into thin air. He just took off his outfit and hid it in a bucket.
That sounds far too stupid to be true.
Correct.
And
With
yet,
tricks like... And yet, it's what happens. With tricks like that, he couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. And that's when you figured it out, Mr. Atme. That's when you learned that under his mask, Master Mask was really Ron Delight. I'm not pushing any buttons here. What the? Wasn't he supposed to be Master Mask? Not only that, it looks like he wasn't even an ace detective. I can't believe it. He was just a slimy blackmailer. What a fraud, trying to pass himself off as an ace detective.
Why, you! How dare you expose my nudes on Twitter.com!
They're not for you!
Why I oughta? I've never blackmailed anyone in my life. I'm a famous and proud ace Shut up! And also Master Mask.
Rabble.
Why can't you understand that?
We've broken him. I'm afraid you are neither a proud
Because
thief
you're a
nor an
bitch.
ace detective. You're a blackmailer and a murderer. That is your true identity.
Why you?
Uh-oh, I'm not doing this.
You even dare could ever fall to such learning? Why not with my big mouth of yours? I say, none of you compared to my genius so good. Discriminate, it's detective gonna tell the blackmail murderer. It's enough to make one laugh.
man, he really went all Joker on us, huh?
A little bit.
Well, that sucked. It would seem we've finally arrived at the real answer.
That was quite a performance by Mr. Atme.
Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atme.
Nope.
Really? Okay, fine.
The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim.
But he didn't miss.
What do you mean? I've already prepared to deliver my ruling.
Allow me to say one more thing. Amogus.
Sus.
I will be the one to judge.
You don't get much more in your face than that.
It appears that your claws aren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Trite.
What do you...
It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like Luke Atme was a filthy blackmailer,
Oh.
and that he wasn't at Lordly Taylor the night of the murder.
That's right. That's why he's the one who killed Mr. Bull...
But he just pauses for like a minute after saying but.
Butts.
But there's still one thing you haven't proved.
What's that?
Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse for a man was at KB security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered.
No way!
Order the court. Well, Mr. Wright.
This is it. This is the final round. I've got to prove that Atme was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night.
But can you really prove that?
That's long enough. Mr. Trite, I want your answer.
That night, Luke Atme was at KB Security, and the defense can't prove it. We've got fucking nothing.
We cannot.
I can't prove it.
Just as I thought.
We're about to hand down a
My
verdict.
casserole waits
But,
Why are they
another day.
But if we hear more of Detective Atme's testimony,
Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Trite.
what do you mean?
I won't allow for further testimony. That's what I mean.
That's
Why?
really not up to you.
Can you do that? What?
Because I'm a shitter. Look at me go. Have you forgotten? Luke Atme is here after we interrupted his own trial. And you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial and face his guilty verdict as mask to mask.
No.
Well now, Sir Lawyer, I'm better now, by the way. It seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as Mask to Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify that he is the true murderer.
Well, we've already disproven that.
I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness.
That's the thing, right? It's these games are always like, it's not enough for Phoenix to prove that his client couldn't have done it. He has to prove that someone else did.
Yeah, no, the way
Wacky.
murder works.
Right.
It's one or the other. We got to decide today. I got a casserole going. Come on.
Listen, my casseroles are very important to me. If I don't get to them, well, then I might be the one on trial. That's enough deliberation over this witness.
I can't believe this. At this rate, Ron is...
Don't give up now, Nick. We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence and...
By then it'll be too late.
Huh? Why?
Double jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court
No,
of law.
okay, but it doesn't apply here.
That's not
That's
at all
not
how what
how
double
it
jeopardy
works.
means. That means you can't be found innocent and then found guilty with the same thing.
My God.
That doesn't mean, oh, I was found guilty of being a thief, so I'm not a murderer.
Yeah, and doesn't double jeopardy not even work like if new evidence comes to light or some shit?
Correct. You
they're
can
about
still
to-
have a new trial of like you just can't. It just means you can't
just can't
try
do
the
the
same
same
person
trial.
over
Yeah.
and over and over again until you like high roll a jury that agrees with you.
Yeah.
They're about to explain it.
Double jeopardy.
Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. That is the fundamental rule of all courts. And it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else.
Mr. Adme will be found guilty in a matter of minutes. Guilty as mask to mask,
Not
which
how this
means
works. Not how this
He will
works.
be innocent as far as the murder of Cain Bullard is concerned.
That's not how that works.
that's the part they're losing me on.
They just lost me so hard. No way.
The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Atme's guilt of the crime here means that he will never be tried as Cain Bullard's murderer.
No, it doesn't.
Wah!
Not even a little bit.
That's
No.
not even close.
Well, it does here, I guess.
It does in this court of law.
It's like
It
tomorrow
doesn't-
he could be like, I saw Luke Atme take his mask off and stab Cain Bullard 30 fucking times. And he's like, too late.
It's
Too
too
bad.
bad he was already found innocent. Now, anyways, I have an oven to preheat.
Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win. Even if Ron is proclaimed to be innocent, the real killer, Luke Abney, will go free.
That's so dumb.
You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made today. As long as there's no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare there will be no further questioning of this witness.
You don't have to hand a verdict.
Are
out,
there
Judge.
any objections?
Yes.
You better. That's good coffee.
Then I hereby end the cross-examination of Luke Abney.
There she is. There she
I
is.
think I see it.
A little more German, I think, right?
No.
Oh wait, that
nope.
was Von Karma.
Nope.
Shit.
It wasn't not. It was Mia.
Yep, it's Mia.
Ah, damn it! I thought it was Von Karma. I can't tell their
Your
objections
Honor.
apart.
When you were a child, this is what was on your report card every year. Has poor hearing and often makes mistakes as a result.
How did you know?
Phoenix, raise
How
your
did you
head
know
up
to make
high.
that reference? You weren't even here for that part.
Shut up.
Well, she's always here as a ghost.
I guess.
Have you forgotten what I used to tell you? A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets.
That voice. No way.
Yahweh.
What's up? Long time no see, Phoenix.
Mia? This is the true power of the Karain channeling technique. I know that it's really Maya who's standing before me, but right now she's my mentor, Mia Fey.
It's like she never died. Now, let's do this.
For the way she did.
Alright, so this next thing is almost certainly going to take us longer than 7 minutes. Do we want to stop?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Listen, Soups, back
There
in the
is-
day, I was happy doing 7-hour Danganronpa streams, but nowadays, I'm just tired.
No more. Not again. And
I
figured
was
this
much
would be-
younger.
This would be a good spot to stop, because also, first of all, there's only one more testimony left, but I feel like it's probably going to take a while. But also,
I'm very
we'll
glad
ha-
she's not possessing pearls.
You're also a bad judge of time, so
Pearls transmogrifying into Mia is fucked. And
It's
I don't
stupid.
like it.
I hate
I
it.
hate it every time. Because she's a child, and Mia's decidedly not.
Alright, have a good
Yeah.
night, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow for... Fuck, what do we play on Friday? Yakuza. Bye!
Yakuza.